The night was dark and rain pounded against my window, a relentless drumming that seemed to match the pounding of my heart. I sat alone in the dim glow of the television, lost in the eerie flicker of the screen. It was an old set, a relic from another era, its cathode rays casting an ethereal light across the room. As I watched, a sudden chill seized the air, sending shivers down my spine. I brushed it off as a draft, trying to shake the uneasy feeling that settled in my bones. But then, on the screen, something shifted. A shadow, faint and ghostly, danced behind the characters. I blinked, convinced it was a trick of the light. But as I stared, the shadow grew bolder, taking shape. It was a figure, a pale and ghastly specter, its hollow eyes locked onto mine. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. I fumbled for the remote, fingers trembling, and snapped the television off. The room plunged into darkness. In the silence, I could hear my own ragged breaths. I tried to laugh it off, chalking it up to a tired mind playing tricks. But when I turned, I saw it. The figure stood in the corner, its pallid face inches from mine, eyes pools of endless darkness. I screamed, the sound tearing from my throat as I stumbled backward. I fumbled for the door, my hands slick with sweat. The figure followed, gliding towards me with unearthly grace. Panic surged through my veins, propelling me forward. I burst into the hallway, heart pounding, and slammed the door behind me. I needed to get out. My feet pounded down the stairs, echoing in the hollow silence of the building. Each step reverberated with dread, as if the very walls were closing in. Outside, the rain poured in sheets, soaking me to the bone. I didn't care. I had to escape that wretched place. I sprinted through the streets, the only sound the squelching of my shoes against the wet pavement. The city seemed deserted, the usual bustle replaced by an eerie stillness. It was as if the world had held its breath, waiting for something to happen. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see that dreadful apparition trailing behind me. As I turned a corner, I stumbled upon an old electronics repair shop, its sign creaking in the wind. Desperation clawed at my chest. Maybe they could help me, explain what had happened. I flung the door open, a bell tinkling in response. The interior was cluttered with ancient televisions, their screens like vacant eyes staring into the void. An old man, stooped and wiry, looked up from his workbench. His eyes bore into mine, sharp and knowing. "You've seen it, haven't you?" he rasped, voice tinged with a mixture of sorrow and resignation. I could only nod, unable to find my voice. He beckoned me closer, his hands trembling as he handed me a worn photograph. It showed a family huddled around a television, smiles frozen in time. "It started with that set," he murmured, his voice heavy with regret. "A curse woven into the signal, a portal for restless spirits." Terror gripped me. I wanted to leave, to run far from that place, but I knew I couldn't escape the truth. The television, a gateway for the vengeful dead, had marked me. The old man's eyes were pleading. "There's a way to end it. Destroy the source, sever the connection, but it won't be easy." Dread settled in my stomach, but I knew I had no choice. I had to stop this, for myself and for others who might fall victim to the haunting transmission. Armed with determination, I returned to the accursed building. The television sat there, a malevolent presence waiting. With a heavy heart, I raised a hammer high and brought it down with a resounding crash. The screen shattered, the sound a symphony of finality. The room was bathed in darkness once more, the malevolence dissipating like smoke in the wind. As I stood there, gasping for breath, I knew the battle was won. The curse was broken, the haunting transmission silenced. But I also knew that some horrors once witnessed can never truly be erased from the mind.